Yesterday, we wanted to fly to a new restaurant. I was going to record the whole thing on video for you. Started at 7 in the morning by preheating the engine for 4 hours. But when everything was taking too long to get going, and we lost the keys, the ice wouldn't come off, etc., I decided, well, maybe just record the return trip. But I had this appointment set for 5 p.m. And at 3, we still hadn't taken off for home yet. So I had to let that recording go. I wish I could have shown you those beautiful scenes of upstate New York, hundreds of square miles where you can't spot a single human dwelling. It looks much like it must have thousands of years ago, but I was too much in a rush. And now I've got to celebrate Valentine's Day. So maybe I won't even be able to make this video either. Excuses are fascinating. After 10 years in this job, I've heard so many, given them too, obviously, from the kids don't like it when I make a video, to the dog ate my script. People put far more creativity into why they won't do something than into just doing it. Why is that? I think it's fear. Fear manifests in all kinds of ways. There's imposter syndrome, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear you have nothing to say. Not really the one that's ever stopped me. But what if fear didn't even exist? What could be done instead of obeying what fear tells you to do? I don't think it's going out on a limb to say that without fear, anyone could be 10 to 100 times more productive and happy. So it seems the best thing to do for the health of a company is to conquer the fear. But how do you do that? Well, you could ignore it. But then it kind of ducks down and controls you later in all kinds of covert ways. We used to call that biting you in the butt. You could take it on head first and power your way through. That's even worse, though. Makes you invent all kinds of compensating behaviors that control you even more. Now you're controlled by fear and by the anxiety of trying to ward off anxiety. You could hide in a closet. That's not very productive. You could hire someone else to be you. Not really the point when you're trying to create trust. You could get some help from someone who can completely eliminate the fear on your behalf. But who can do that? You can. Author Guy Finley calls this completing the moment. And I've never found anything that works better. Here's what you do. You wait for a fearful moment to rise up out of nowhere. Oh, don't worry, you won't have to wait long. It may already have started. But remember, we're going to complete the moment, not run from the moment. We do this by looking at the fear. When we look at it, we begin to see not just what it's telling us to do, run or fight, but where it comes from. And what you find invariably is that it comes from a place that is incapable of learning anything about itself. But the most amazing thing is that the part of you seeing that is the part capable of amazing feats of daring do, or should I say, daring to. Daring to do things that up till now have scared you silly and kept you from going any further. The thing is, most people, when they start this process, can't keep at it for more than a millisecond. That's by design. We are all firmly in the hold of a low level of consciousness that wants us to believe that this is all there is. But our success depends on knowing that we have these powerful inner resources patiently waiting to be tapped. All we have to do is activate them by completing the moment. I remember my first time. I used to have a problem with road rage. I mean, not criminally bad, not so that I carried a gun in my glove compartment bad, but bad enough that my long-suffering wife would get worried. Then one day, while we were driving from Connecticut to North Carolina, and one more idiot had cut me off, I decided to look at it right there. Well, I had nowhere else I could go. It took about 10 minutes. 10 minutes, what felt like an eternity. And when I emerged from my little, observational cocoon, the road rage was gone. And in 8 years, it's never come back. And all from self-knowledge that was always there, but that I just couldn't see. This works for anything. But it's not like looking at one thing clears out all fear of all things. That's why you can be fearless in your area of authority and fearful of, say, wombats. It's a process, and it's a very personal thing. No one else can know what's coming up for you or how long it will take to see it to the end. It can't be approached from the outside. It's something you do for yourself. But consider this. All the results we get in business are based on self-knowledge, not self-improvement, not looking outside ourselves for magic formulas that will somehow either neutralize our fear or make it irrelevant. You can't make something irrelevant that is the very air you breathe, but you can understand it and transcend it with higher perspective. If you can look at it long enough, actually complete the moment life has brought. With this gift of self-knowledge, you see fear, and maybe for the first time, for the lies it tells. And then there is such an explosion of creativity and life and value and happiness and, yes, relief. You'll wonder how you will manage to avoid it for so long.